It's a fascinating project. It encompasses every architectural style from the medieval, Tudor, right the way through to the 20th century. When you first approach a building like this, the building has got a lot of secrets. It doesn't take long to unearth the secrets. One of the ways to do that is to look at the windows. My name's Stuart Leavy and I'm the Regional Building Surveyor for the Landmark Trust, looking after buildings in the north of England, north of Wales and the Channel Islands. The Landmark Trust is a building conservation charity that restores historic buildings of interest. A lot of the buildings that we do restore are quite small and quite humble and quite often slip through the net. So these buildings are nationally important and we're an organisation that looks to restore and maintain them, giving them a future life. Every single window has a story to tell. We know that glass came into common use in the 16th century, and the windows that are on the chapel, you can see the small panes of glass which tie into that time frame. So in the 16th century it was small pieces of glass called quarries laid in lead frames. As time wore on and glass production got more sophisticated, glass panels got bigger. Moving around the building you can see the styles of windows changing, and as the building moves forward through time, and you see a lot of sash windows. Now we know sash windows were popular in London in the late 17th century. It wasn't until the 18th century they became widely used across the UK. We would call them a modern sash window, and what we mean by modern is that the sashes would rise and fall with the use of weights and pulleys, and we see that throughout this particular building. Minimal intervention and repair is the essential way forward in looking after historic windows. As part of maintenance and wear and tear of windows, especially sash windows, they get jammed and stuck. Now, in a building like this, where it's been unoccupied for 50 years, a lot of the sashes were stuck. So the knee-jerk reaction would be to take these sashes out, plane them down and get them to work almost immediately. But we waited, we introduced heat into the building, we introduced ventilation into the building, and the natural material, the timber, contracted and the windows started to work again. So that's all they need in a lot of cases. They just need the environment to be right for them to work properly. Okay, so this is a typical example of what you'd find on a modern sash window. On the left hand side there is a sash weight, you can feel it, there's resistance on the cord. Here there's nothing. So we've had a failure, we've had a broken sash cord. I expect to find the sash weight sitting at the bottom of the pocket down here. So we need to get that out. To do that we take out this piece of timber and it's called a staff bead. So carefully, I like to use a sharp chisel, get in behind and prise it. The next job we need to do, we need to take this piece of timber out, and this is called a parting bead, and it separates the two sashes. Carefully just pop this bead out. This shouldn't be glued, the only thing holding it in would be paint. We know that this weight is from this window because it was in the pocket, so we know somebody's weighed this window, and we know it'll operate if we put it back in as it should, so we can use this weight again. Every joiner will have one of these, and it's a little lead mouse, and it's been made specifically so it can pass over the pulley wheel and drop down through the box. So there we go, we've got something to tie our replacement sash cord to. So you need to attach the draw line to the sash cord. We normally use a clove hitch. So normally the weight sits 2/3 up inside the pocket. So if we cut the cord at the bottom of the pocket, we've got enough spare to tie it on. Got the sash cord where we want it to be, we know it's cut to the right length. We need to fasten the sash cord to the back of the sash. The way to do that, historically they would have used nails, they would have used galvanised nails. I like to use stainless steel screws. And then it's just a case, there's one with a screwdriver. And the final stage now is to hold on to the sash cord, release the clamp. The sash weight will pull against the cord and want to pull the window up. And if done properly, this should repairing historic windows is vitally important in conservation. There are a lot of very skilled craftsmen and women in the country who repair these windows, and it's vitally important that we train the next generation of conservation carpenters. Having young people picking up these skills is incredibly important to the landmark. It's important to anybody who works in the conservation industry. So yeah, we're really keen to pass on these skills. Once we've completed the project, these windows will just look like they were in the 18th century. A sign of good conservation work is it looks like nothing has been done. And that is the greatest compliment you can give to a conservator. When people look at the building and they can't see the conservation work that's gone into it, we know we've done a good job.